What's going on, everybody? Rainbow Six Extraction has come out, and I have to say, I think I'm horribly addicted to this game. I think that I am terribly addicted to it, and so far I have 3 operators already level 10, and I'm just having way too much fun with it. So basically, there's aliens. They're the same aliens that were brought forward from an event through Rainbow Six Siege a little while ago. I will openly admit, I myself am not a huge fan of the standard Rainbow Six Siege experience. I'm a filthy casual. I played Rainbow Six Siege when it came out for probably a month, and I just couldn't get the grip on it. I don't think I'm try hard enough, and I don't have the I'm not as competitive, so the standard Rainbow Six experience was kind of lost on me. Although I love the mechanics. Mechanically, Rainbow Six Siege is an exceptional game. And you've taken that well-honed experience, those tight controls, excellent shooting, and you've brought it over to a PvE experience that is really good. I think this game is really good. I have a lot of praise. I have some good critiques, but overall, I've been having a positive experience with this game. Now, I've been playing this game on an Xbox Series X, and performance-wise, it is excellent. I've had no crashes, no lagging, no hiccups of any sort. There's a couple of goofy visual glitches I've had here or there where enemies have gotten stuck in walls or something like that, but it's not been anything game-breaking. I've got 2 bugs that have been persistent. One of them is trying to revive someone, because sometimes you go to revive them and they just fall back on the ground and you have to do it 2 or 3 times. That happens periodically, and for some reason, I don't know if this is just me, if you guys are experiencing this as well, let me know in the comments down below. But with Pulse, I can't scan enemies. Pulse doesn't scan enemies. I can scan nests, and that's about the extent of what I can scan. But otherwise, the game's run flawlessly. This is one of the best launches I've seen in a while, and I'm really thrilled by it. It is also on the Xbox Game Pass, which is really crazy for a Ubisoft first party title to spring up on Xbox Game Pass. So I think that's a huge sell. So if you're on Xbox and you have Game Pass, there's nothing stopping you from downloading it and trying it. And so the basic premise of the game. You load in, you have 3 sections you have to clear. Each section has a random objective, which you will know ahead of time, of course, so planning is key. And the game is actually very different depending on whether or not you are by yourself, with 1 other person, or with 2 other people. Now, I haven't played with random, so I don't know what the experience playing with strangers on the internet is, but I've played with my friends, and I have to say, communication is key. Communication and prep are 2 of the very, 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 very big takeaways I want you to have, because there's a difference between starting an objective, a defense objective, let's say, where you have to stand still for a moment with no reinforcements, versus a prepared, reinforced defense. Because there's been times on, let's say, the serial scan, I've gotten all the way to the 3rd objective and maybe had to shoot 1 or 2 enemies because I had reinforcements, I had claymores, I had everything set up. And it just... preparation. It makes this game feel really unique compared to other PvE games, because a lot of PvE games you just kind of rush in there, waste everything, and off you go. This has some more hardcore elements, so you have to be sort of careful about some of the things you do, and tactics and planning are very important, because if you don't tactically plan, you're going to have situations like we did when we were playing on launch day, where my buddies walked into a room and a breacher spawned out of the ceiling, fell on top of all of us, and took us all out. So tactics and planning are very important in the core gameplay loop of this game. Now, the core gameplay loop. This is something I want to talk about, because this can... I feel like it's a 50-50 thing. I feel like I'm sort of in the middle, because each operator levels up to level 10. And, of course, the higher the difficulty you go, you get more XP for objectives. Now, you can level up an operator even on the low difficulty, the normal standard difficulty, relatively quick. Especially if you don't take any damage, because then you can just keep repeating missions with that operator to get them to level 10. Now, I wish that the level cap for operators was a little bit higher to create a little bit more of a grind, because I bet if you go into like a high level, like let's say you max level with a couple of your buddies who are like really good at this, they could probably level your operator up extremely fast. So I wish that nothing astronomical, maybe if they just doubled it up to level 20, that would be really nice, because it would give you just a little bit more to work with. And you know, they could just give you more weird cosmetics, which I'm going to double back on the cosmetics here in just a second. But as for the core loot, you know, there is multiple areas. So you have New York, San Francisco, Alaska, and then the desert. They don't really specifically name it. It's where the original outbreak took place. And each area has 3 sections within it, and it's all replayable. And within each one of those sections, well, scratch that. Within each one of the areas, you have your studies. And the studies are just challenges you have to do, which help you level up your milestone. So you have your operator levels that are all individual, and then you have your milestone, which is your profile level. And by leveling that up, it allows you to get access to new features, new cosmetics, and stuff like that. So doing the studies is helpful, but you can do the studies very quickly. If you plan accordingly, you can get all 3 objectives in a single study done in one run, and it's really that simple. Now, I will say this, in San Francisco, there's one where you have to kill a sludge, and if you or anyone you know is stuck on that one, you need to play San Francisco on the lowest difficulty, because that was the only time I could find a sludge. I was playing on the higher difficulties and could not find a sludge. Loaded it up on the lowest difficulty and found one within my second incursion. So that's just a heads up. Now, in addition to just the standard modes, you have like a weekly challenge map, which we haven't touched yet because I'm the only person with level 10 operators right now within my team here. And then I just unlocked Maelstrom. I have not played Maelstrom myself. I know that's the sort of hardcore challenge mode, and you can't play it solo from what I've seen. And Maelstrom is going to be sort of the place to go for those people who want that extra challenge, which Maelstrom is, you have to go, there is 9 continuous sections you have to go through that get progressively harder with mutations and enemy levels increase. And I believe each week they rotate the operator, so there's only set operators for Maelstrom that you can work with. So I'll probably do a whole separate video on Maelstrom when I get around to really playing it and testing it. Alright, so I'm going to sweep back around. I want to talk about cosmetics real quick, because there's some things the game is doing really well, and there's a couple of things that are just kind of meh. So there's a good selection of earnable. There's not many paid options right now, but this is Ubisoft. This is all subject to change. I want that cliff note put in there that this is all subject to change. My issue is, I think under the weapons category, there's like a shade of blue that's on like 3 or 4 different skins, and it looks, you can't tell when you're actually playing what it looks like. It just looks like the same blue camo over and over again. And some of the operator skins, just, they really could have tried. They were sticking to the color palette for the React kind of organization, and I really wish they would have put a little bit more effort into trying to diversify it a little bit. But there's some cool stuff there. There is some cool stuff to earn. There is a shop. I do think playing Maelstrom mode will allow you to earn the credits to buy things from the shop. Don't quote me on that, because I haven't played the Maelstrom mode, as I said earlier. Which, if that's the case, then that's cool, because you can earn yourself some pretty cool premium cosmetics. There are a couple of universal weapon skin packs, which is pretty awesome. I think if you're going to sell weapon skins, they should be universal, especially for a game like this. But, yet again, this is Ubisoft. You just wait until the premium store hits. We know how game devs work. They usually wait about a month or 2 to drop just their hideous transactions. I bet they'll have XP boosters and everything else, because this is Ubisoft we're talking about. But to kind of wrap everything up and put everything into a nice bow, I guess, here, I highly recommend this game. I think the gameplay is extremely solid. It is running very well right now, and it's just fun. You know, getting in there and tactically moving around, either by yourself, with your friends. I would recommend if you can find some friends to play this game with, because you only need 2 other buddies. This game is actually a lot of fun. This game, the feel of it, and just everything going on. Because as I said earlier, you have the exceptional Rainbow Six Siege. You know, you have a game that's been out for years. You have very tight controls, and they translate well. Like, when your aim is on point and you're sneaking around corners and you're getting your headshots and you're doing it, feels awesome. But when you start potato aiming, let me tell you what, you start potato aiming. But the game feels good. It has launched in a good state. I definitely think that they should react quickly and add more maps. I think maps is something big that they need to kind of look into and make sure that there are more of, because what you have on offer right now is nice, but for replayability's sake, I would look into adding more. And then speaking of kind of future content, Rainbow Six Siege has a massive roster of operators. A massive roster. And I'm really curious to see how they're gonna pull this one off, because there's some operators that just, they won't work, or they won't be, you know, their gadgets are just not helpful. So I'm wondering how they're going to balance, like if they're going to even think about adding those operators and how they rotate them. That being said, I want to stop on Tachanka for a second, because we're talking about operators. I'm very curious as to why they have the old style Tachanka where he puts down turrets versus the newer one. So I'm just curious, because the new one, of course, the newer Tachanka, like, he can carry his machine gun around and he has the incendiary rifle grenade thing. So I'm just curious as to why they kept him the way he is. I haven't gotten a chance to use him yet, so I don't know how useful he'll be. There is a lot of defensive type stuff, so I'm wondering, he'll probably be really good, but I'm not sure. All in all, this game is great. I think it's fantastic. I can't wait to see what they do with it in the future. I hope they, you know, support it well, and they give it the time and attention it needs, because this is, you got a good base here, you know, like your recipe, you got a good recipe here, but you gotta make sure you cook it right. So I'm really curious to see how they're gonna support it going on. And just a parting thought I want to leave for all of you, and I want to hear all of your opinions on it. But why did they do aliens before they did an actual, like, normal, like, we're terrorist hunting kind of, you know what I mean? Like, they decided to go with aliens before they went with a more realistic tone. It's just odd. It's been bothering me ever since, like, I heard about this game. And it's like, wait a minute. Rainbow Six Siege has been out for years, and they haven't done any sort of campaign or any sort of normal mode. It's been like aliens, which is fun, and it's great, and I love it. But it just strikes me as odd. And with that being said, let me know what you guys think of it. Let me know if you guys agree with me, disagree with me, or anything else. I'm just curious to see what the overall reaction is to Rainbow Six Extraction. Make sure to leave a like, a dislike, comment, and subscribe for more if you're not already subscribed, because there's a lot more content coming in the future. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope to catch you in the next video.